sure, kind of entertaining lecture by our Jacques Lacan professor of EGS, who is the kind of the curse, I put on him, who is one of the founding professors. He has been here in the first year, and only his heart operation was making him stay away one summer. So every year, when we start getting just too comfortable with our ideas, we bring in Slavoj Zizek. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Do you need this? So it's not just like when you have a heart operation, you know, all those machines making beep, beep sound, which means nothing, it's just to create the atmosphere. Okay. What do you think? Do you dare to say what did you think I will be doing with it? Okay. Okay, so I would like to talk today about a slightly more serious matter, not only jokes, about materialism, theology, where do we stand today? Because I think we live in strange times. On the one hand, we have this so-called rise of fundamentalism and so on, but something very interesting started to happen in the last years. Did you notice how a certain very vulgar, direct materialism, attacking religion as stupidity, immoral laws, is gaining also at the same time extreme popularity? The three big stars, even four, of course, us, are originally Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, and now also Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris. It's kind of an extremely vulgar reductionist materialism claiming religion is basically stupid, ethically hurtful, and so on. I think more and more that these are, in a way, two sides of the same coin. That we don't have to choose between these two. So what do we have to do? Okay, let me go directly into the debate. Less than a year ago, in September 2006, the Pope, the new one, Benedict, caused uproar, you all remember this, in Muslim circles when he quoted the infamous lines of a 14th century Byzantine emperor. Show me just what Muhammad brought that was new, and there you will find only evil and inhuman, such as his command to spread by the sword the faith he preached. So what was Ratzinger's Pope's idea? He tried the Pope to delineate what he saw as a fundamental difference between Christianity's view, according to him, that God is intrinsically linked to reason. You know, the beginning of Gospel of John, at the beginning it was the word logos, blah, blah. And what Pope thinks is Islam's view that God is absolutely transcendent. Islam, according to Ratzinger, teaches that God's will is not bound up with any of our categories, even that of rationality. And the risk the Pope sees implicit in this concept of the divine is that the irrationality of violence might thereby appear to be justified to someone who believes it is God's will. So, for the Pope, the essential question is the conviction that acting unreasonably contradicts God's nature always and intrinsically true? His idea, of course, being, for us Christians, it is always true. God cannot enjoin us, compel us to act unreasonably. For Muslims, it is not always true. There is a problem with this statement. The problem is that in the same move, as part of the same argumentation, the Pope also condemned what he called the Western godless secularism, in which the divine gift of reason has been warped into an absolutist doctrine. So, the conclusion of the Pope is clear. Reason and faith must come together in a new way. We should discover their shared ground in the divine logos. And, I quote the Pope, it is to this great logos, to this breadth of reason, that we invite our partners in the dialogue of cultures. It sounds nice, but where do I see the problem? The problems explode immediately when one analyzes a little bit more close what does the Pope understand with reason. Let's remember that just a week before this statement, which provoked so much uproar, the Pope also made some remarks on the irrationality of Darwinism. Do you know that Benedict has removed Father George Coyne, a priest whose position was the director of the Vatican Observatory, after this American Jesuit priest repeatedly contradicted the Pope's endorsement of intelligent design theory, which essentially backs the Adam and Eve idea of creation. The Pope favors intelligent design, which says that God directs the process of evolution. He favors this intelligent design over Charles Darwin's theory, which holds, as we all know, that species evolve through the random, unplanned process of genetic mutation. Father Coyne was an outspoken supporter of Darwin's theory, arguing that it is compatible with Christianity. But the Pope wrote in his book Truth and Tolerance, I quote Ratzinger, "The question is whether reality originated on the basis of chance and necessity, and thus from what is irrational." You got the point. Necessity is for Pope irrational. That is, whether reason, being a chance byproduct of irrationality and floating in an ocean of irrationality, is ultimately just as meaningless, or whether the principle that represents the fundamental conviction of Christian faith and of its philosophy remains true. In principio erat verbum. At the beginning of all things stands the creative power of reason. Now as then, Christian faith represents the choice in favor of the priority of reason and of rationality. So this then is the first qualification that one must add. The reason of which the Pope speaks is a reason for which Darwin's theory of evolution and, let's be clear here, ultimately modern science itself, for which the assertion of the contingency of the universe, the break with the Aristotelian teleology, is a constitutive axiom. So, for which Darwin and modern science are irrational. The reason of which the Pope speaks is the pre-modern teleological reason, the view of the universe as a harmonious whole in which everything serves some higher purpose. Which is why, incidentally, that's the nice paradox here, the Pope's remarks obfuscate the key role of the Christian theology in the birth of modern science. I think this is true, that Christian theology played a crucial part, but which theology? What paved the way for modern science was precisely the voluntarist idea, elaborated among others by Duns Scotus and René Descartes, that God is not bound by any eternal rational truths. That is to say, while the illusory perception of the scientific discourse is that it is a discourse of pure description of facts, the paradox resides, the paradox of modern science, in the coincidence of bare facticity, facts, and radical voluntarism. Facts can be sustained as meaningless as something that just is the way it is, only if it is secretly sustained by an arbitrary divine will. This is why Descartes is the founding figure, one of the founding figures of modern science, precisely when he made even the most elementary mathematical facts, like 2 and 2 is 4, dependent on the arbitrary divine will. 2 and 2 is 4 because God willed it so, with no hidden obscure chain of reasons behind it.